Welcome, Mama, to the Postpartum Coach Podcast. Finally, a podcast dedicated just to the mental and emotional world of us postpartum women. I am your friend, fellow mama, and postpartum life coach, Lizzie Langston. After intense birth trauma, delivering my first child, and really scary mental health crises following the birth of my second and third baby, I set off on a 6-year journey to understand postpartum mental health from the inside out. On this podcast, I bring you, as a mom of 4 and a certified postpartum life coach, the tools you need to avoid mental health crashes, to get out of the postpartum rut, and to embrace a vivacious motherhood that you love from the inside out. Let's get you feeling like yourself again, Mama, and welcome to the Postpartum Coach Podcast. Hi, mamas. Okay, so I was going through one of my favorite books. It's actually by Hay House, who I just love. It's called, literally, I'm trying to read you the cover title, and it's so worn off that I'm like, well, I think I know what it says, but you can only see half of it. So it's called Human Design, the Revolutionary System that shows you who you came here to be. And the author is none other than Jenna Zoe, or Zoe. I think it's Zoe, Z-O-E, and then the E has 2 little dots above it. Zoa, maybe? I don't actually know how to say her last name, but she's so adorable. Her picture's on the back, and I'm so grateful to her. So I picked up this book actually after having already used myhumandesign.com, which is her website, to put in your birth date and your time. And make sure you have the correct ones, please. And make sure you typed it in correctly, because psychologically, I've seen people type it in wrong and then they realized it was wrong like a week later. But now this whole time they thought they were this one design, but they're not. And then they feel so relieved because they were like, none of it really felt like it was me. Don't do that to yourself. Just make sure you put it in right the first time if you're going to do it. So I will give a brief overview of like my understanding of what human design is. And then I wanted to just share with you actually a few of my gifts and maybe just get you excited about figuring out what your human design is. So let me back up. Before I even share like technically what it is, I want to just share how it came into my life. So I am so supremely committed to postpartum women, to serving them. I have been since I had that moment where I was in the depths of my own darkness and I asked the universe to intervene and help me somehow. And I said, if you do, I will turn around and share whatever it is that you give me to heal my life. I'll share it with the world of postpartum women. And so I have been. So that was back in, I don't remember the year, 2017, maybe 2018. And since then, whether informally, just on my personal Instagram page, sharing my story when I was depressed postpartum and sharing with friends and family, or more professionally and formally, right now I'm writing a book to submit to Hay House. And, I've got the podcast, whatever the capacity, even just in my personal life, if you know me, I'm that person at Costco that like goes up to the new moms and just loves on them and asks them how old their baby is. And if it doesn't feel too weird and if they're very open and friendly, I might say, how was your birth? And obviously people aren't going to like spill their guts, but I really want to just be like, I see you, right? Like we all postpartum just feel so invisible in the background, like nursing or feeding that baby and trying to keep our life in order and stuff. And I just have this love and this passion for really sometimes creepily, possibly being like, I see you, even if it's just emotionally and indirectly to postpartum women. So that's part A, but part B is I have struggled in a multitude of ways when it comes to running a business. I just learned this year I have ADHD. I also have 4 children. I also have some complex relational trauma from growing up that is just sitting in my nervous system. I think so many of us have that from all different sorts of different people and dynamics in our lives. And I just happen to be educated or like have really dug under the layers of me and my psyche and my nervous system. And I have figured out like what it is and put a name on it. Not saying that you have it and you haven't done that. I'm just saying like, I think a lot of us probably have a lot more trauma than we even know. But until you break down or have some sort of thing that just like rips up your life, such as postpartum depression, extreme birth trauma, postpartum anxiety, panic attacks, like I experienced all of those, we don't really have a reason to like figure it out and call it what it is. And I feel really proud. I hope I don't feel too proud, like condescending, but I do feel gladly and humbly proud that I've chosen to really like be with some of the layers of my personal lineages, intergenerational trauma and toxic patterns and things that we all have. We all carry them. I just happened to be confronted by them quite early on in my human journey. And having children was definitely the catalyst of my underworld coming up for some air. So I hope this is useful to you. By the way, if you haven't followed the podcast or subscribed to it, please do that now. And if any of these episodes are helpful to you, you can either to give back and to say thank you energetically, you could share it with a friend or just leave me a written review below. It's not even leaving me a written review. You're really doing it for all the moms who, peruse the reviews to decide what to give their time and attention to. And frankly, postpartum, our time and attention is so short. It's so precious. And so those reviews help women figure out if this platform is for them. So thank you in advance for giving back to the podcast and even just sharing space with me, breaking bread with me today, emotional, mental bread. All right. So going back to human design, I originally came across it, of course, because I was really struggling as a business owner, but really committed to this mission and purpose. And so voila, human design popped into the 3D realm. Somebody showed it to me. I think my friend Corey might have told me about it for the first time. And she was like nerding out on it and had this big, thick book at her house and was trying to tell me all about it. And it was super overwhelming and confusing. And so I didn't really do anything with it for a minute. And then I was like, what the heck? I just went on to myhumandesign.com. I was like, it sounds like it's really helping her. I've heard about it here and there from mentors that seem really great. I'm going to give it a go. Why not? And it's actually been so fun and so rewarding. And I'm beyond the point of like in my mind thinking, is this real? Is it not? I am like all into it because it's been helpful regardless. And I actually do believe it's real. But I have a husband who's really like kind of guarded around things like this, whether it's astrology, human design, the more, I don't know, Eastern spiritual ethereal type of mediums and modalities to navigate life. And so I always have to have an answer in the back of my head prepared of what I say to people who are like, meh, is that real? I don't think that's real. I don't care is what I'm saying. That's my answer. I don't care. I love it. It's helping me. Okay. So to get a little bit more technical, I guess, basically human design is, oh gosh, I'm like, maybe I should just read it to you from. So Jenna Zoe is an amazing authority on this. And I'm just going to read a little bit of her introduction. She says, the world is changing fast. And if you've come to this book or to the modality of human design, you've probably looked around at the current ways of thinking, doing, and operating and thought, maybe it's not set up in a way that enables us to thrive. Okay, so pause me reading the introduction. If you don't know, astrologically, as a collective, as a world, we have just entered into the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius, I mean, this is huge. Like when we switch into a new age, like a new era, like the Eras Tour, right? It's big. It's something that doesn't happen. It happens every like however many thousand years. And so it's just a big indicator of where our next stages of evolution as humanity are entering into. And Aquarius, I am not an expert. I'm going to very simplistically lay this out for just a tidbit of a moment. But then, we can talk more about it maybe in future. But Aquarius is all about the collective and relationships and showing mutual love and respect and brotherhood and realizing that we are all actually one. So this to me gives the vibes of the new world that we're kind of evolving into. A really concrete example to kind of help you apply this vibe to maybe what you've experienced, witnessed, seen is not just the pandemic, but specifically, let's look at the way that our relationship to what we do for work changed so much. we had this huge physical and spiritual, like, thing that happened, right? I was just going to say postpartum. That's funny. That's big too. I was specifically meaning, COVID. So we had this big thing that happened, right? The pandemic, and the world shut down. And then when it reopened, it was no longer the same. And around that time, we were entering into this age of Aquarius. And so many people prefer to work remotely. They expect to be able to work remotely so much of the time. So many people are choosing alternative lifestyles that the pandemic sort of just finally pushed them that last little bit. I mean, my family, we moved to Costa Rica for 7 months. We would have never probably imagined having done that, except the pandemic. We were sitting at home, reevaluating our lives, right? And I'm sure you've heard countless stories or lived them of new life paradigms that came to people, and also really hard stuff. I'm not trying to say it was all good, right? The pandemic, it broke down and kicked out a lot of the energy on our planet, a lot of actual human beings that we loved. It was terrifying and horrific. No doubt there was changes made, a huge wake of trauma, and also a lot of newness on the flip side of it, for good or for bad. And I do think there's been a lot of good. And I'm grateful to see the resilience of our human state. But anyway, right? So that's just one example of the huge impact of a huge step of our evolution. And so I guess what I want to say is, on a collective level, our human design is a way to inform you as an individual about how your spirit or your humanity is designed. So there's just a handful of designs. There's like 5 different types. Okay, everybody that puts their information into the human design thingy gets assigned a type. And once you know your energy type, then you can have a better understanding about the role that you are to play in humanity. It doesn't like tell you exactly what you need to do. It doesn't take your agency away from you, okay? But for sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and move on in. But again, this book is called Human Design, The Revolutionary System. I can't read it because it's all worn off. That shows you who you came here to be, by Jenna Zoe. It's a Hay House published book. It just came out maybe like a year or so ago, and it literally fell off the shelf. And it actually wasn't supposed to be on the shelf until the next day. My friend Lana and I had gone to Barnes & Noble, and she was like, oh man, it's coming out tomorrow. But she was leaving town what would have been tomorrow. So we just went that day, and it turns out it was on the shelf, and I bought a copy, and it felt very magical. So I know I'm supposed to have this book. All right. So there's a few different types. You got to look them up. So there's like manifestors, there's projectors, there's manifesting generators, there are pure generators, and I think there's reflectors. Those are all of them. And I happen to be a pure generator. So my profile has a bunch of stuff in it. I'm not going to read all of it, but I wanted to share with you a bunch of the gifts, okay? So the cool thing about her book, because all I knew about my profile was like the main title, which is the regal authority figure, which just feels like such a joke sometimes, but hey, I don't know, maybe you get that from me. The thing is, I like human design because it splits it into inward facing, like your experience of yourself, and then outward facing. So my inward facing is a 4, and a 4 is the people person. So that's for sure. Like opportunities come through relationships. Basically, the quality of my life can be measured by the people I'm hanging out with. And I'm supposed to be, according to my design, I'm actually supposed to be hella picky with who I spend time with. Not just physically, but also digitally. And so I'm supposed to be really protective of my circles, and I'm not supposed to feel bad or ashamed if I drop people or step away from people that aren't doing it for me, because it's a huge part of my role on the planet is to be sourced and resourced in a particular way, because it feeds my pure generator energy. And on the flip side, if I'm around people who deplete me, it really does deplete my energy, and it impacts my professional life. It impacts my private life. It's really huge for me. And just knowing that has been so helpful. And then the other number is a 6. And so a 6 is, okay, I had to find it in the book. A 6 is the wise Sage. I swear, it is a little bit. Okay, here's what's coming up for me. I'm having a hard time claiming the greatness in this title, and I'm not like trying to make too much of a title here, but when I read through it, I am like, yep. So I'll just give you like a little hit so that you can understand. And I really encourage you to go to myhumandesign.com and check it out. So as a sage, you're born with innate wisdom. You came into this world already wise to life. But for your first 30 years, your connection to your inner wisdom takes a backseat as you try to establish yourself, your goals, and your direction in life. You experiment with putting your energy into lots of different places, people, opportunities. I was like a doTERRA rep, and then I was a Synogens person, and then we almost bought an aquarium store, and then we bought a business, and then we lost the business. But in all of it, I just, through my life experience, I became the postpartum coach, and I feel like I'm entering into the second part of my life. So it says, as you come to the end of your 20s or your early 30s, you usually want to be more selective about what you put your energy into. And it's at this time in your life you realize, wow, I'm actually really wise and intuitive, and I don't need to look outside myself so much as I used to. So anyway, it tells me all about the path of the sage. So you can see how this is really, really great. And then it tells me about, so the 4 is the people person on my inside, the 6 is the wise sage on the outside. And then it has a whole couple pages about those two together. I'm usually a central figure, influencing, directing, and organizing everybody else. And from as long as I can remember, any time in school when they broke us into a group activity, I was always the one that just took the lead. And I remember I would intentionally try not to, because I knew that about myself, and I'd be like, I need to sit back and let others do it. And then nobody would. And it was almost like everybody could just sense that I was the one that was just going to like start the conversation, go first, or invite somebody else to go first, but like be the initiator. It's really interesting. So that's just like one tiny little example that feels kind of stupid, but it is what came to mind. So now I'm going to go into some of the gifts. These were really, really cool. So my number one gift, and I hope this is fun for you to hear. And again, I really hope that it encourages you to go check it out. And if you've already looked up your human design, but you haven't really taken it very far after that, please get this book. It is so great. Also, Hay House is such a great publisher. And Jenna Zoe, I'm not sure how you say it, is so great. And also she has so many really affordable extra things to kind of, like if you just get the My Human Design app, which is her app, you can obviously put your chart in, get your chart. You can have it right there on your phone to save. But then she has so many, like for $10 or $20 or $30, you can take these pretty decently full courses or little classes on going deeper into the little aspects. And you can kind of peruse and get whatever you need to help you out in your life. I want to just say that if you are postpartum and you're struggling, it can't hurt you. This cannot hurt you. This can only help shed some light on how to make sense of what you're going through and how to, just see more about who you are. Okay. So this is so cool. There's so many actual gifts. So I just want to tell you that one of my number one gifts is actually, I'm trying to find it. Okay. Let's go about this. Gift number 10 is one of mine. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 15 gifts listed on my chart. So gift 10 is one of them, and it's being in love with life. All right. So that's one of my gifts. And then in this book, she tells you what that gift is. She tells you how to flex it and how to unblock it. And so like things that can get in the way of it. So for example, unblocking my gift. The trick with gift number 10, I'm reading from her book, this is page 160, is remembering that loving life comes from feeling so lucky to be alive, going through what you're going through today, rather than this giant quest to get somewhere you've told yourself you're so far away from. So I'm ending my reading now. This has been a huge theme as I've ran this business. And I tell you, every time I read this book and get into my human design, I always feel more clarity, more peace, more settled into the present moment, which is to stop really taking it all so seriously and to stop thinking that I need to be somewhere else and to just get back into the presence of life. Another gift I have is gift 15, which is exploring the edges. I can't tell you how true this one resonates with me. Hold on, my kid's going to come in here. Hi, I have Amos on my back here. Amos, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so gift number 15, exploring the edges, is all about the fact that it says, you are the envoy for all of us. You go explore something, understand it, and bring back the gifts or information. We all benefit from you venturing to places we won't lean into. You're the one to shine a light on these extremes for people. So, that's basically it. In my book, I'm going to be writing about postpartum, and I think people who have never even been postpartum are going to actually really find it fascinating, because I'm going to take them into what it was like to be in the middle of postpartum depression and then come out of it, and then everything I learned. And my hope is that, postpartum women do not actually have to go to the depths of depression the way that I did, because of the fact that I already did. And then I'm going to be able to take that and give them tools to evaluate where they're at and to figure out what they need and to give themselves those things so that they can actually feel better way sooner. So not everybody is built or needs to go to the extremes that I do go to sometimes. Did I choose that? No, but it's part of the package deal, hey? All right, whoops, I dropped the book on the space bar. Let's do gift number 30. Let's see. Gift number 30 is... I actually haven't even read this. Oh yeah, I did read this one. The desire to feel deeply. So those with gift 30 are always desiring big life experiences, the kind that make you fully feel alive, whether that's pleasurable or painful. Does that mean I'm masochistic? I don't know. They just desire to feel something, and they find themselves longing for more than what they're currently experiencing to give them that aliveness. So yeah, we want to move to Maui. So that sounds like something I would do. That sounds just like me. And so again, how to flex it is let go of any expectations you have when going into a new experience. And then there's a paragraph with that. And then what blocks it is sometimes you can have this burning desire, but you don't know what for exactly. Like you have this fire inside of you, but no clarity on what to do with it. And so it just helps not to pressure yourself to have the big answer, but just to start throwing yourself into little things that seem to excite you. This builds trust and helps yourself discern what experiences are right for you and which ones aren't. All right, and I will read one more. Let's go to gift number 45. This is actually really fun for me. I haven't even looked at 45. Let's look at it together. Ooh, whoops. Oh, okay. Whoa, 45, resourceful solutions. Gift 45 lives in the real world and knows how to make the most of a situation to maximize the wealth, well-being, and happiness of the people involved. Gift 45 looks at what you've got and can tell you how to work with what you've got. Making money is one thing. Gift 45 is adept at keeping it, saving it, stretching it. Okay, I'm just laughing because money has been one of the hardest weaknesses of my life, but I think it's more of a wound than a weakness. I shouldn't say it's a weakness. It's more of a wound that I'm exploring, and it's come from actually at least 2 generations of women before me. So I'm working on it. But so gift 45 doesn't just make money. She's adept at keeping it, saving it, stretching it, the best way to use it once you've got it. The same with how we rule our affairs as a family or team. Gift 45 knows which of us are best at which roles, who's meant to do what. In your physical well-being, Gift 45 can meet you right where you're at whenever you need help and knows what practical steps will help you improve. I feel like this comes through a lot in my coaching, actually. Just being able to meet people where they are and give them the next couple things. When you're in dire straits, Gift 45 will know how to get you back to safety. Yep. And when you're just okay, Gift 45 can tell you how to make a life a little better. Sounds like a life coach. So that's cool. And so how to flex the gift is to keep my heart loving and, be in integrity. And then what blocks this gift is focusing on what you don't have. I can totally attest to that. And don't confuse challenges with problems. So because you shine at making the best out of things, you're often looking at less than ideal scenarios. Don't ever let that make you feel that life is full of problems. They can be more perfect, but that's life's journey. We are the ones. Okay, so speaking of this, blah, 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 the end. Speaking of this, I wanted to tell you guys that I'm actually starting a Substack. So if you don't know what Substack is, that just felt like the perfect opportunity to segue into Substack. Substack is, right now it's technically social media, but it's nothing like the social media that you and I know. For example, Instagram and Facebook. So Substack is actually in its golden era of before all of the algorithms and all of the advertisements. And I'm hoping it stays that way. And from what I've understood about the leadership over at Substack, it sounds like they might. So I'm hoping it can be a refuge for those of us who want social connection, but we don't want to be slave to the algorithms. We don't want what we are looking at being so entirely censored. To be fair, Substack does have algorithms, but it is a platform for writers and or for those who appreciate good writing. And I don't know about you, but there's something about the written word that I just drop into this more authentic place. So I love speaking. I love public speaking. But I don't know. I tend to struggle a little bit more with performance mode and more with my ego when I'm speaking, probably because I hear myself speaking. It just lends itself to more analyticalism. But when I'm writing, there is this unbreakable flow of pure Lizzie and pure goodness that just like pure essence that just comes through. And I want to practice that. And so I'm flexing that muscle. I'm also writing a book right now. And so I am starting a Substack unofficially, but officially I wanted to invite you. And I already wrote the first one, and then we're just going to go from there. And the idea is to do it weekly. And what I like about Substack is that it keeps all of the emails that I send in the form of sort of like a blog. And so you can go back and read old ones. So it is a weekly newsletter, but then they're also stacked sort of like forever in. And so when new people come and find me, they can actually peruse all of my old articles. And then it's going to be free, but then there will be at some point, I haven't figured it out yet, but eventually there will be a way to upgrade to just a small subscription just to support my work. So I'm writing newsletters anyway every week. And so this way I can at least get paid for that amazing value and also go deeper in my connection with you guys. And the thing with my Substack is I'm actually going to be veering farther and wider than just postpartum. So it'll be fun because I'm going to be writing about everything from simple, slow living to falling back in love and romanticizing your relationship with your life. And I'm not going to be in teacher mode. I'm just going to be in writer mode. I'm going to be in human mode where I'm exploring everything, and I'm just going to be sharing what lights me up, what makes me feel alive, whether it's a strategy of how I look at the world or whether it's a physical product or item or, a smoothie mix that I just figured out. Whatever it is, I just want to share with you. So yeah, it's basically going to be my science of falling back in love with the experience of being alive. And I hope that the essence and portrayal of my life that I share in those letters on Substack renews and inspires new life into yours. I think that's really my main purpose on this earth. I do it in postpartum, professionally, I guess, but also I want to do it in all the corners and the nooks and the crannies of life because I have so much love and romanticism for all parts of my life. And I have so much passion outside of even just postpartum. So if you want to get to know those sides of me, you want to maybe come help support my work, you can go download Substack and I will put the link to my newsletter in the show notes. But yeah, you can, and it's just a little orange app and I really enjoy it. I really love it. And if you are a writer, then you need to get on Substack. You will love it. Okay. Or aspire to be a writer. Or enjoy writing, good writing, and want authentic connection. All of those are there. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, Lizzie here. I've helped dozens of postpartum moms just like you to manage their postpartum anxiety and deconstruct their postpartum depression. It's really easy for me. So if you're ready to feel better, I know the way. Let's chat on the phone. Set up a time by going to LizzieLangston.com/consult. It's pretty simple, and I will be calling you soon.